today's ever-changing landscape, the integration of virtual and physical events is paramount. While virtual events cannot fully replace the in-person human connection, they offer the unique ability to transcend geographical boundaries and time zones. In our increasingly disconnected world, the power of human connection is crucial, especially in the workplace and for professional development. To create successful events, it's essential to balance learning, connection, and enjoyment. Networking, wow moments, and shared experiences are now more critical than ever. Our clients are finding it more important than ever to anchor events with a speaker relevant to their event theme and audience. As of today, our most requested topics are AI, mental health and resilience, inspiring stories, and future trends.
That embodiment and connection to self is something that everyone deserves. Gender is a bit like clothing. For some of us, our clothes are just a way to dress ourselves. We wear what we always have and we don't think about it that much. But for others, clothes are the ways we adorn ourselves as shrines. The ways we honour our fullest selves, our spirits, our ancestors. The possibilities are endless, just like with our genders. Our genders, like our outfits, are comprised of many different parts. One item of clothing does not an outfit make. And pronouns are a single aspect of our gendered outfit, right? Sometimes they're worn as the outermost layer, and sometimes they're kept a little closer to the heart. But either way, if we spend too long focused on them, we're not looking at the full picture. I think it's important to be sort of questioning and demystifying even the concept of phases, because the reality is that everything in our life is a phase. You know, childhood is a phase, high school is a phase, thank God. The person that you dated in high school was probably a phase, thank God, right? You know, the course that you drop out of, the car that breaks down, but that doesn't mean that those things don't shape us, that they don't make us who we are. You know, we are the amalgamation of everything that has come before us, and that's a beautiful thing. We're not static, we're not stuck. We get to reinvent ourselves, we get to grow up, we get to wake up each day and decide who we want to be and how we want to act. We get to make mistakes, we get to apologize for them, you know, we get to learn and grow, and I can't imagine why that is used against people. That's a beautiful thing. That's one of the most beautiful things about being human, is that we're not stuck. In order to better understand the reality for trans people, I want you not to imagine what it would be like if you were actually the opposite gender, but instead I want for you to imagine that you are a can of lentils. Suspend your disbelief. This isn't vegan propaganda. No, not at this point. You're a can of lentils and you're sitting on a factory shelf, and you know, one of the factory workers coming over, putting labels on each of the cans, and puts a label on you that says coconut milk. And you're like, excuse me, I'm not coconut milk. You wouldn't know that unless you literally opened me up and look inside, but I promise, put me on a supermarket shelf, cost of living's rising at the moment, you know, someone's gonna buy me, they're gonna put me in a pina colada, lentils in a cocktail. It's just not gonna be a good time. You're gonna get sued, you know. I'm just letting you know, it's not a good idea. So being trans is not the process of this can of lentils trying to become coconut milk, or even becoming lentils, right? But actually the process of changing that label on the outside so people can see what was always on the inside. And that process can look like getting surgery, taking hormones, but it can also look like getting a haircut, or people just believing you when you say, that's not the right label for me.
How many people here are tea drinkers? Oh, okay, we are over-indexed in this room. I am so happy to be among so many fellow tea lovers. And for anyone who didn't raise your hand, maybe you can just spend a couple minutes during this speech rethinking your beverage choices more carefully. Now, as you can see from this slide, I am unfortunately what is called a serial entrepreneur, which means that I can pretty accurately describe my startup journeys in 5 words. Anything that can go wrong. But each of these ventures actually has two things in common. The first is that they're each first of their kind products or technologies. And the second is that they each have social impact built into their business model. How can we create innovations that are repeatable and scalable, and most importantly, impactful? Solution: fair trade certified mulling spices in single serve sachets, so that each mug of mulled wine was as easy to brew as a cup of tea. Now, with each of these products, to break through, they not only had to be unique and on trend and ethical, the most critical piece of all of this is that they are so simple. The greatest compliment that you can get on innovation, in my opinion, is someone saying, "I can't believe this hasn't existed before." Years is an incredibly long time to sit in uncertainty, not sure if you can actually make the product that you have been trying and failing to make. We had so many people tell us during this time, "You can't do that." And so we had to get very used to saying, okay, we can't do it that way. So what's our next option? During this time, I really had to reframe the way I thought about the word no. So often we see no as a stop sign, as the end of the road, when actually it's simply someone telling you you've taken a wrong fork in the road. You might have to backtrack miles to find where that wrong turn was, but there is always another path forward.
I was in my early 20s and I was told, "You're too nice. The best advice I could give you, don't lead like a woman." And I was like, I had to look at this person to think, they're joking, right? I was expecting to fall about laughing. No, they were deadly serious. And what's worse, it wasn't the only time that's ever been said to me. And not in the too distant past that it's been said to me. So this is one of the most important things that I think we can talk about. And there was a lot of aspects of the last talk that were about leadership, empathy, understanding yourself and understanding others. And that at the core of it is leadership. We're all human, and having that vision to have a purpose, be genuine, be authentic, so others can follow you is really important, particularly as we navigate through some really interesting times in the world, in life in general. Legacy is a really important thing in leadership, to think about these people I'm leading, as I mentioned before, whether it's one person, 100 people, 1,000 people, 100,000 people. If you can leave a legacy that they want to be a better person and a better leader, then you've nailed it. And it's often as simple as that. Oftentimes, as leaders, we overcomplicate things. And it's really simplifying it down and being human and understanding people's behaviours that's really important. And then the learn more, do more and become more, that's all about innovation and creativity. Giving people the time and the space to think about problems differently, to think about the workplace differently, to think about interactions differently, and become better people and better team members as a result of that. And I really love that notion of creativity and innovation being absolutely central to moving businesses forward and business success, business growth and business sustainability. Care, that is caring enough to tell someone they're doing a great job as when they're not doing a great job. If you're giving feedback in an annual performance review, then you failed as a leader. Hands down, no question. You should not be doing that. It should be constant communication. Context, where do they fit in the organisation? What is their role in achieving the success of the organisation and working with the other departments to have a sustainable organisation? Clarity, what are your team's objectives? So many team members don't have them. They're really grey, they're murky. How can you get out of bed every day, be excited, go to work if you don't know what your objectives are? Clearing the way as a leader. If someone's got a barrier, help them work through it. It will, solve a lot of problems really quickly. And a simple one, celebrate. Celebrate the little wins as well as the really, really big ones. And the other C is communication. Frequently, particularly in a crisis. I had to do what David Brent did 2 weeks after I joined Westpac. I was letting people go that I had never met before. So communication was key. If the team see you in a sort of a glass room like this with all other leaders, even if you haven't come to a conclusion, go out, talk to them. On the floor, okay, we haven't made any decisions. The decision will be made next Wednesday. I can't tell you anything. I just wanted to give you an update. There is something really, really powerful in that and genuine in it. Be genuine in all communications, verbal, written. Everyone smells BS a mile off. Share the outcomes with your team, it's really inclusive, and make it a two-way conversation. Listen for understanding, not for response. That's really, really critical.
It's a faith that believes in all faiths. Whether you're religious or not, we believe that we're all one, we're all connected. So our roles as Baha'is is to actually go around and embrace other communities and embrace them as if it's our own, right? To really establish that concept and that idea of oneness. Hence why I'm a Persian, born and raised in Japan, moved to Canada, and now I'm in Australia, right? So I'm just all around the world. It's pretty nuts, but I'm pretty grateful. My dad's razor was on the counter, and I'm like, you know what? At 7 years old, I want to imitate what my dad does. So I grabbed the shaving cream and I put it on my face. Now the ongoing joke is, we're from Iran, so we're born with peach fuzz mustaches, right? Like, so by 7, I had basically a mini beard. And so I'm just basically mimicking what my dad would do. And I lathered my face with shaving cream. I'm not even sure if I shaved, but I just did the whole action. And I got the bug since I was 7 years old. I love the idea. So growing up, I would always just give haircuts to my friends, you know, and at the time, pointy sideburns were the thing. So like we would always shave. I was the master at pointy sideburns. I'm serious, it's kind of gross, but it's funny. And so I was doing that, I was giving haircuts, and every time my friends would be like, yo man, you should cut hair, you should be a barber. I'd always be like, is that all you guys think I'm capable of doing? You don't think I can do more with myself? You don't think I can work for the UN? You don't think I can be a CEO of a company? You don't think I can be a physician? Dad? I'm serious. And like eventually, slowly but surely, the words of encouragement and the support that both my family and my friends would give started to slow down because of my reactions. But that came from a place of insecurity of like, I can be better, don't degrade me. But rehab and the eye-opening experiences that I had there, I realized, man, maybe cutting hair is what I need to be doing, right? I kind of realized right then and there, man, it's like a haircut's one thing, but it's the ability to just like vibe with the people in the chair. That is the real importance, right? And I think that we need that a lot, human connection. To feel loved, to feel belonged. I feel like some of the speakers spoke about that. And it doesn't matter in what avenue, but being able to just realize that we're all part of one human family is a beautiful thing. And so it kind of touched on my head to think, man, if I can connect with people in my chair, why can't I connect with people on the streets or anywhere outside and just use the avenue of cutting to connect with the people? And there was this homeless guy that used to sit outside a barber shop, the train station, on my way to work. And he used to always put his head between his, knees, and he'd give him his coffee and his muffin sometimes, and he'd be like, oh, thanks, man. Never really looked at me. And then one day I was like, why don't I just give him a haircut? So when I asked him, would you want a haircut, bro? He looks at me and kind of goes, I would love one. And just kind of embraces the fact that I'm talking to him. 8 months, he had never actually acknowledged me. No matter how many times I gave him coffees and muffins and coins and tried to say, how you doing? And he goes, I let myself go, man. I hated who I am in the mirror. I was like, oh, bro, come on, let's do this right here. Sat on top of a rock. It was outside of Parliament Station. People were walking out in tears. What's going on, man? What are you doing? And this was before like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff started to happen. Now, I'm not gonna say that I'm the only person who's ever done it. Hell no. I'm not the first person to do it either. There's been people who've been giving back and doing stuff for society and humanity for thousands of years. I am just someone who just started to do it on the social media side of things, where it started to become a little bit, I think, passed around, right? But when I was doing it, before it started getting passed around, before news outlets and people started to actually showcase it, no one knew what was going on. People were trying to offer me money, thinking I was like busking. It was crazy, and I was like, no, it's not about that. But the craziest part, guys, is this. The guy that I was cutting, he was like a dead phone who had put the charger in, and he started slowly coming to life, right? Because he sat like this for 8 months, cut his hair, then his shoulders start to go back, and he starts to talk to people. Then he started catcalling people. What's up, hon? What are you doing after this haircut? I'll go for a coffee with you. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Yo, you should get your haircut from the best barber in Melbourne. Hey, man, you got some AC/DC to play? Like, I'm just like, what's going on? But it was a beautiful experience, you know what I'm saying? It was phenomenal. I showed him a mirror, showed him what he looked like. He looked at himself and he goes, "Thanks for making me feel human again, Nas." Now those words were crazy because it really got me a lot. I'm like, man, for so long, this guy never felt human. No wonder he wasn't acting alive. And then what mom told me, Dad, was so long as you do something in the spirit of service, we'll always be proud. Then I thought about it. I was like, man, I'm actually cutting with the spirit of service. Everything just clicked. I was like, oh, now I feel right. This is what I need to be doing. It was like that puzzle that finally got put into the whole piece. And now I finished it in my mind. I felt satisfied. I felt confirmed. I felt assured. This is what I have to be doing. Not just cutting hair for the homeless, but cutting hair in the spirit of service.